Hey guys, today I'm going to be installing the SSR-315-40-2 replacement bump stocks from my factory ones on my 2022 Ram 2500. These are the SSR-315-40-2 springs, which are the highest rated ones. These at 50% compression can withstand 5,000 pounds. So we're going to be installing these because there's no other video on YouTube that I've seen where people have installed these. So I'm going to show you exactly how to install them, what comes in the kit when you buy it from Sumosprings International. And yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so what we get in the box when it comes from factory is the instructions. Everything showing you how to put it, where to put it on the axle to the frame. You get this bracket right here. There's two brackets in here. Sticker, another two brackets, another two brackets. All the hardware with some Loctite, and then warranty. You gotta scan that. Scan this barcode right over here and see what warranty you get on it, which it should be lifetime warranty. And then you get the two-piece Sumo springs. Here's one, and here's the second one. And that's pretty much everything that you get. Okay, so what comes in the box, like I already did on the unboxing, is you got two brackets, these plates that mount to the top of the frame. Then you have these that mount to your Sumo springs. And then this bottom plate right over here is what's mounting to your axle. And then this right here is all the hardware that you need with some Loctite. And yeah, so you have two of each. You have two middle brackets, you have two bottom brackets, and two top brackets that mount to the frame. I'm going to be measuring the height of the truck right now because these should be adding 1 inch extra in the back, so let's go do that right now. Okay, measuring from the ground up, we're at 41 3/4, and going from the tire, seeing the wheel well, it's 10 1/2. So this should be adding us to, I forgot what I said, should be adding us to 43 1/4. So we're gonna see if that's actually what happens. But I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen. So we're gonna take off the old ones and we're gonna install the new ones, see exactly if we can get a good video of them on the road. If I can't, I can't, but I'll show you some before and after pictures of how it looks. Okay, so to begin, we have to lift up the rear axle and put jack stands on the frame so that the axle is completely freestanding. That way we can remove the old bump stocks and add them new. So let's go do that right now. So this right here is the old factory one that we're going to be replacing. We'll just get the size nut, pop it out. Down here there's no bracket, that's why we have the other metal one. And essentially this is going to replace, it's going to replace the old factory bumps. Look how this is only 3 inches and this is around 7 or 8 inches. So we're going to have a lot more support, so that way our axles aren't taking too much of the load, and same with our coil springs. So I'm going to take these ones out, show you guys how to put the brackets mounting onto this plate, and that's pretty much it. I also lifted up the truck and I put my jack stands over here, holding most of the support. The tires are touching the ground, but I still have plenty of room to play with inside over here. So that's the only thing I needed, just to make sure I have enough room. Tires are still touching the ground. We're locked over here. I'm also going to put the jack in the middle of the truck as well and just pump it up just to have it, just in case these things go out, because these are from Harbor Freight and they might kill me, so stay tuned. Okay, so the tools that we need are floor jack stands. We got that wheel chocks. I put wheel chocks in the front of the truck. 7/32 Allen wrench. We have a 9/16 socket and a wrench. We got a 5mm Allen wrench, and we got a 7mm Allen wrench. And these are the bolts that the 7 go onto. They're a little bit longer. These are the 5 9/16 nuts for the socket, and then this stays at the bottom when you tighten with your wrench. So, all right, let's take off the old ones and install the new ones. Okay, so for the disassembly of the original Bob socks, it's just 2 bolts. You got one right here, you got one in the back, and it is a 5/8 socket. Let's put it on here, take these 2 off, and that's all you have to do to remove the factory Bob stops. Okay, so we have 6 short bolts, 4 long bolts, 2, I think these are stainless silver bolts, 6 nuts, and the brackets. So what we need, after we have taken our old bump off, we're going to mount this to the top of the frame. As it shows right here, we're going to take 2 long ones. We're going to put them through here. We're going to mount them to the frame. We're not going to tighten all the way because we still need to adjust with it. So we're going to put 2 on each side. And we're about to mount this right now. Also, it's a number 7 Allen wrench on the inside of the bolt, so if it wants to focus. Yeah, so number 7 Allen wrench is what we're going to use to just bracket up right now. Okay, you can't really tell, but on this diagram it's showing that these 2 bolts are, this is not directly in the middle, so these 2 bolts have to be on the inner part of the truck, and you just hand tighten these to the top and let this stay loose, because we still have to adjust the bottom plate to the top. So this is how it's supposed to be, and we're going to work on the bottom part now, which is the middle. Okay, so for our next part, we have to mount this bracket onto the top part of the Sumo spring. So this is the top, it has 4 holes, and this is the bottom, it only has 1. We have to take the short bolts and mount them to the top of the Sumo spring. So you have to cross these holes. You have to cross them either this way or this way. So if you check this way, it doesn't fit. This way, the holes line up into it. And then we have to take some thread locker, a bead of it, and take a bead of thread locker, both of them, and then we tighten this all the way. These ones don't need to be loose, these ones just need to be tight all the way, and it is a number 5 Allen wrench. So once you have them in, you're going to tighten them all the way, and this top bracket is going to be complete. Okay, now how we put this mounting bracket up on top of the truck. We are going to go and mount this to the top. We're going to have this straight, and we're going to use these nuts and tighten them, and we're going to torque them down to 30 foot-pounds. So that's how it's going to look at the top of the truck once it's all installed. So I'm going to go install this right now. All you need is 2 bolts. Make sure these are tightened down to 30 foot-pounds as well, and yeah, that's it. Okay, now we took the bottom part of the Sumo springs and we attached this piece with the 2 hooks. All we did was just put it on into the middle. These 2 hooks are going to be hooked on to the front part of the axle, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. You got to leave this loose so we can actually work with it. So yeah. Okay, so this is the bottom. This is the 2 hooks. These 2 hooks need to face the front of the truck. So I'm in the rear, and these hooks are going to fit right over here. One right here and one right here. They can't go any farther to the left or right. And this small hole right here is just going to overhang. It's going to overhang right over here. So we're going to set this in place. Just like this. And then we slide it into place. You can see right over here. You can see through the axle that this is now in place, and once it's in place, you can only move this up and down. You can't move it side to side. You can only move it up and down. And the 2 hooks are locked in to the front part of the axle plate. So, yep. Okay, so our truck is actually freestanding. These jacks are actually supporting most of the wheels. The wheels are floating. What we have to do now, since these are only lightly put in, we have to actually raise up. We have to raise up the truck, its suspension. What we're going to do is we're going to raise up the suspension of the truck until the boot gets seated in place. So we're going to raise up. You can see it is lining up. And there we go. Our Sumo springs are now lined up exactly where they have to be. Okay, so the reason we didn't actually tighten these or this one is so that we can move it left and right to make sure that this boot is seated in properly. So once we find out exactly where it has to go, we are going to take the marker. We're going to mark right here. Line it up with this racket. And there we go. We have a mark for there, and then we take our marker down here and we mark the bottom part of the plate. And now we have to disassemble everything, and then we can tighten everything all the way, because now we have our mark where our Sumo spring has to be facing. So, yep. Okay, so I already made my marks. See how this moves left and right? I made my mark with Sharpie, you can see right here, and also with pencil, and I drew an outline with the pencil. So now I can take this and I can tighten it. As you can tell, it's all the way to the left and it's not moved to the right. So if I were to move it to the right, that pencil mark wouldn't make any sense. So right there. Now I just tighten this backside with a number 5. Okay, so I disconnected everything and I tightened all the bolts down, all to spec. You can see the marks I made with Sharpie on both sides. You see at the bottom, or you can't really tell, but I tightened them all down, and now we are going to jack this up and make sure it's still lining up properly. Yep, there we go. They are all good on the left side. On the right side, it's the exact same thing. So, yep, I hope you guys... Oh, also, you see this bolt right over here at the bottom? This is what holds the bottom bracket in place. So all you have to do is just take a 9/16 on both sides and just tighten up with this little metal piece in between, and this is not going anywhere, and neither is this. So we are all set with the driver's side. Passenger side is the same exact thing. I'm about to do it. I'm gonna drop this down because I don't need it anymore. And watch how it... Here we go. Alright, time to work on the passenger side. Okay, so on the passenger side, it was a lot easier to take off the tire because I have this exhaust in the way. Anyways, I just mounted everything up. Once you do one side, the other side is so much easier. I did this in like 5 minutes. So what I did is I attached all the bolts, but they're all loose. Like you hear that, it's still loose. This one's still loose. I pumped up the jack right on the axle. You can't really tell, it's right on the axle. So I lifted this up so that way I can measure exactly perfect where it needs to be. So now I'm gonna actually drop the axle. And now you can see this is loose, but I have all my markings exactly where it needs to be. See how you have that adjustable play? If you can move, I think like 1.5 inches, but I know I have to tighten it right here. And then same thing with this. Can't really tell. I made my marks with pencil again, and I made 2 marks so I know exactly where my pencil needs to be. So it's right here. You can't really tell. Anyways, this right here, like I was saying, the hooks, you can see it a lot better on this side. They need a hook in. They need a hook in right here. There's a hole on the right side and a hole on the left side. And when you put this in, you put this bracket in, there's no other spot for these to go other than the hole. So sometimes you might need a mallet, but you just push it all the way back and that's it. This thing just moves up a little bit up and down, but the hooks are actually placed in here, and that's pretty much it. But you see how this is, I can move it to the left and to the right, but right here, right in the middle. On the other side, it was all the way pushed back. That's where I lined up with the bottom. But this one, it's right in the middle. And there we go, vertical. And then side to side, horizontally, I can put this exactly where it needs to be. And I already made my marks with pencil. So now all I do is I take these off. I put thread locker on these bolts and I tighten them exactly where the pencil markings are. And same thing with this. I take off these 2 bolts, these 2 nuts. Take this off, take the other one off, and then I just put thread locker on these 2 bolts that are holding, and that's it. I just mount everything back up, tire back on, I'm ready to go. Okay, so the Sumo springs are installed. I forgot what the numbers were before, but I'll link it somewhere, or I'll put it up on to show you after. But now, I think it was 41 3/4, now we're at 42 3/4, so I added 1 inch. And then from wheel well, it was 10, and now it's 11. So yeah, we added 1 inch. Actually, wait, no. It was 10 and a half, and now it's 11. So we added a 1/2 inch between the wheel well and 1 inch to the top, so about 1.5 inches is what we raised the whole truck. So now when we ride, the polyurethane Sumo springs are going to take most of the weight off of the axle, off of the springs, and off of the shocks. So yeah, I think it looks good. It doesn't look too bad. Like, it doesn't look like it's too raised up in the rear, but now for sure I'm going to have a smoother ride. And now I can load this bad boy up as much as I want. Okay, this is what the truck looks like from the back. The Sumo springs are just touching.
Same thing on that side. Can't really tell, it's right behind the exhaust. But they are just touching, and once I put some actual weight on this truck, those are gonna take most of the weight. So honestly, it was super easy. This side took me around like an hour to do, just because I didn't really know what I was doing, because I had to get all my tools as well and all the bolts. But once I had everything, that side I was done within 10 minutes, A to Z. So if you know what you're doing, it'd probably only take you half an hour, but for me it took like an hour and a half, just because I wanted to videotape and because I wanted to get all my tools, and I didn't have that before. So yeah, I think this looks great. I'm excited to see how they perform on the road. And yeah, that is it. The Sumosprings are doing a great job. Last time I hooked up this trailer, my truck was squatting, and the trailer wasn't even full all the way. It's about as full as it was last time, but you can see the trailer is pointed down, but the truck is sitting level, and the springs aren't even compressed that bad. But they're taking most of the load on both sides. You can't see that one, but so far it looks pretty good. It's a lot better than last time, so we're gonna go for a drive and see exactly how well and how smooth it takes these bumps, and see how much it supports the suspension. But so far it looks great. Okay, so we got the triaxle hooked up and go down the street. So far, just getting out of that little driveway, it's doing pretty good. This is driving very smooth. It's like I have no more bump in the back. I don't know how to explain it, but the truck is hauling it. It's hauling it very good, actually. So honestly, it doesn't even feel like I'm hauling a trailer. Like these heavy duty trucks, this Ram 2500, it's made to haul heavy, but like when I was hauling this trailer last time, it felt like I was sitting like angled up to the sky. But now, honestly, it doesn't even feel like I'm sagging a little. I think I dropped maybe an inch max. So this truck is driving very smooth. It doesn't feel like there's any tug anymore. Press the brakes now. It's good. Swerve a little. You can really feel it in the springs, like even when you're turning left and right, it is not having any issues. I would recommend these springs to anyone who's hauling. They make small springs, they make big springs. Like I got the most heavy duty ones that come for my truck, which is 5,000 pound compression. But they make some that are like, that help at 1,000 pounds or 1,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds. Honestly, the way this truck is driving, like this road is not that good. Like there's a lot of bumps, but like these springs in the back are really doing their job right. So I got a bump coming up right now. Let's see exactly how it takes this bump. That wasn't too bad. It was a fairly big bump, so it didn't feel like my truck is towing back and forth. So yeah, I would recommend these springs 100%. I am very impressed. Very, very impressed.